So it is almost tax time, and if you are a business, it is very important that you understand the rules associated with some of the forms that need to go out right around this time. So today is the 28th, and on the 31st, which is just in a few days, if you have employees or if you have a 1099, which is a contract employee, you need to have those forms ready, done, and sent out to them in the mail. So I want to talk to you about just that. So I kind of want to first start off with what's an employee and what is a contract employee, which are people who get 1099s, okay? So an employee is someone who you are directing, you're supervising. Let's say that you have someone in your family working for you. Well, that would be considered an employee, not a 1099 employee. So you want to be very specific and realize the rules that are associated with being able to have a 1099 contractor. So the reason you want to have a 1099 contractor is because you don't have to pay their Social Security, Medicare taxes. So you don't have to pay any of that. You don't have to pay federal taxes or state taxes on their behalf, which you do have to do with employees. But there are real tests that the IRS look at to consider whether someone is a contract employee or an employee. So the first thing is behavioral control. So what that means is, are you supervising directly what they're doing? If you are giving them detailed instructions, then you know what? That's not really an independent contractor. If you are giving them evaluations, if you are training them how to do it, if you are giving them written instructions of where to purchase supplies and things like that, none of those would fit a contract employee. So the other thing would be financial control. So did you have to invest a big amount of money in equipment that someone else who is an independent contractor would be using? Guess what? That just kind of takes them out. If there is unreimbursed expenses, so if they drive down to the hardware store and pick something up and you reimburse them, that's an employee. If you don't reimburse them, yes, that's kind of more like an independent contractor. So do they get to have an opportunity for profit or loss? If they do, not an independent contractor. Are those services that they're providing for you, are they available to the general public? Because if they're not, then definitely not a contractor. And then method of payment. So if they are getting paid like a regular wage, like if you're paying them hourly, weekly, not an independent contractor. So if you think about it this way, an independent contractor is someone who gets paid by the job. You give them a job, it's up to them how they get it done. You can give them a deadline, but it's up to them how they get it done, and then they're paid for that job. An employee is either paid by the hour, by the week, by the month. So that's a big difference between the two. The last thing that you have to look at when you're talking about contract employees is relationship. So is there a written contract? So usually if there's an independent contractor, you're going to have some kind of written contract. Are you giving them benefits such as pension, vacation, sick pay? You know, if you're paying their medical expenses, then they're probably more likely an employee. Is the relationship permanent? So is it a family member? Is it your spouse? Something like that. If it is, they're more considered an employee and not an independent contractor. So the big thing is the kind of services that are offered, and that helps determine, really helps determine, you know, whether they are an independent contractor or an employee. And these are very important distinctions. So once you have decided, that you have 1099, which would be considered independent contractors, if you have used them. So let's talk about what kind of things that maybe someone like that would do for you. If you had someone post on Facebook, if you had someone post on Instagram, someone created your website for you, someone created your logo, someone performed your taxes, you met with a lawyer, any of those things that you paid in relationship to your business, if you paid more than $600 to that person or company, guess what? You have to issue them a 1099. So it's really important that you get it done by the 31st. So one of the things that I personally like to use, and this is just something that I use personally, I go and I get these packages. You can get them from Office Depot, Office Max, and Staples. And they're 1099 miscellaneous, so that's what you're going to be using. And it has the little software inside it. So what that does, the software will enable it so that everything that you put on it will print in the right boxes. So that's really important. You want it to print in the right boxes. It also allows you to send it electronically, which the IRS really prefers that you send things electronically. So this really helps. It costs about $30 for one of these. It comes with the software. Software is really easy to use. It guides you through it. So I personally think it is a great thing to use because, you know, you can spend $30 getting this and filling this out, or you can spend several $100s having someone do it for you. So when you're going to do these, the most important thing that you need is you need either the Social Security number or the federal ID number and address of the company or individual that you will be submitting this to. So if you worked with someone and you don't have it, reach out to them and ask them for a W-9. So, and what a W-9 is it is just a form that people who are in business fill out that has all their information. It has their name, address, and their federal ID number, which is what you need to fill out your forms. So both 1099s and W-2s are considered informational forms, and they are both due to be shipped out, to be mailed out by the 31st of January. Now, you don't have to send everything in to the IRS at that time, but you do have to send it to the individual. So let's talk about some of the things that are covered by 1099. So rent. If you rented out a building for your business, that would be considered a 1099. And we're talking about 1099 miscellaneous, which of course is what this form is. If someone performed a service for your business, remember all these are over $600. If you won a prize or got an award from someone, if you paid medical or health care payments for someone that provided a service for you, those would all fall on the 1099 miscellaneous. Now, there are some others, such as payments to an attorney. So if you did payments to a CPA, something like that, those would all be 1099. Do you have someone who is taking care of your website? Guess what? 1099. So it's really important that you understand who you need to issue a 1099 to and that you do it on time, because you don't want to have to be subject to those penalties that will kick in if you don't get it out in time. Okay, now let me just say one more thing. If by chance you accidentally make a mistake on one of these and you send it out, you can do a correction. So right up here at the top, there's a box for correction and there's a box for void. So if something happens and you have to correct it, don't panic. You can still use the same software and these same forms, and you can just put correction or